Just wanted to tell. No. So I was thinking today about the EU Chat Control Act and a story I wrote about in a blog many, many years ago called Uncle SMS, and I think it's kind of relevant to speak to him about now. He was jailed for full texts, and the EU wants to scan yours now. It happened in 2011. A 61-year-old Thai grandfather was sentenced to just over 20 years in prison for sending 4 text messages, that's SMS messages from a phone. Now, Europe is facing a similar crossroads as the Chat Control Act threatens to scan every single private message that we send too. Maybe Germany's going to stop them. I hope so, but it's the way we're heading. So what happened? Well, Uncle SMS was actually called, you'll have to excuse my pronunciation here, Ampon Tangnoppakul. Uncle SMS, I'll call him. He's just an ordinary citizen. I think he worked as a lorry driver or a delivery driver or something. His crime for these imprisonment was 4 text messages that were deemed critical of Thailand's monarchy. And the country has these very strict laws, again, pardon the pronunciation, lèse-majesté laws. It's a French term, and it's basically you can't say anything about the Thai royal family. In fact, somebody actually got prosecuted for slagging off one of their dogs, I believe, but I'm not sure if that's true. Anyway, despite maintaining his innocence, Uncle SMS, and there was no real concrete evidence linking him to the messages. I think they had some metadata and something about the number, which could be easily spoofed anyway. Uncle SMS was actually convicted of this in 2011, and he was given 20 years in prison. He actually died, I think, about 18 months into his sentence in 2012. He was very ill. He had liver cancer and a couple of other things wrong with him. He was appealing. He wasn't appealing against the sentence. He was asking for a royal pardon, I think, to be released from prison, but he never got out. Human rights advocates worldwide were shocked about this. It's a chilling precedent. I know this is Thailand, and we like to think we're more democratic, and it won't happen in Europe or the UK or the US, but when messages become crimes, it's a slippery slope. Uncle SMS was arrested based solely on the metadata of his phone message and the content, and very circumstantial evidence. There was no encryption protection available to prove his innocence or anything like that. He claimed he didn't even know how to send an SMS message. I don't know if that's true or whatever. He got the 20-year sentence, as I said. It was convicted under these strange majesté laws and laws that criminalise private communication if you say the wrong thing. The main evidence against him was digital surveillance, which I think we should remember that scanning his text message was the only evidence against him. He died when he was 62. He never got free again. His case has become something of a symbol for digital right violations, and rightly so, really. The EU is now debating chat control. Of course, Germany and the biggest German political parties are opposing it, which gives us some hope. It seems mad that it's even being considered in a democratic group of nations like the European Union, but yes, they are. They really want this to happen, to be able to scan all private messages. The ideas of overreach and persecution are just awful, really. I mean, Thailand, there's loads of people being pursued under these monarchy laws, really, including this year he was released. An American academic called Paul Chambers was arrested and charged with these under these laws against a webinar he gave, I think, and he happened to be in Thailand promoting it. So, I mean, is the EU Chat Control Act history repeating? Are we copying situations like this? The Chat Control Act would require platforms to scan all the private messages and then use AI detection systems to look for illegality, breaking the sort of end-to-end encryption and the protection that protects innocent citizens and their communication. The AI-driven side of it is obviously worrying as well. The automated systems which would flag suspicious content. It's going to have high error rates. It always will. And it will potentially criminalize innocent conversations and create millions of false positives. What happens with these? I really don't know. It's just a scary thought to even think it'll happen. And it's a big erosion of privacy rights. It's under the banner of child safety, which seems to be the new banner for eroding our digital and privacy rights. It used to be terrorism, now it seems to be child safety. But once encryption is broken for one purpose, the governments will have unprecedented access to private communications, all EU messages, but also lots and lots of messages going to EU citizens, because if you break the encryption, you've broken it for both ends, really. It's the same tool that condemned Uncle SMS. Hopefully Europe will learn. Again, big shout out to the Germans for stopping this, but Uncle SMS story demonstrates how digital surveillance laws, even if you're noble intentions, obviously the Thai one isn't, but they can easily be weaponized against ordinary citizens. 4 text messages, 5 years per text message is what he was sentenced for. Are the EU going to implement chat control and risk creating the infrastructure that will undoubtedly create lots of different, similar situations and abuses? Or will they protect encryption and preserve digital privacy rights for all? It's privacy, I think, and a lot of us think is a fundamental human right. It's not a privilege. Mass surveillance is always going to be a bad thing. It's just going to create more opportunities for abuse than it does for enriching our lives. Encryption protects the innocent as well as the guilty. Let's remember that. And once this privacy infrastructure is broken, it's not easily to put back in place. The question isn't whether we can scan private messages, it's whether we should. Of course we can, you know. Uncle SMS, it's 14 years ago now, but he paid the ultimate price for these unproven text messages. I don't even know if he sent them or if he did send them. In some ways, it's irrelevant. He shouldn't spend any amount of time for criticising anybody in that context. Let's hope Europe doesn't build a system that creates thousands more Uncle SMSs.